Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 2nd. Right now we're looking at the visible/infrared satellite imagery. You can see the state of California here. We got the Hawaiian Islands. You can see a frontal system going into the Pacific Northwest. Should clip Northern California with some light precipitation, but we are going to get additional systems here over the next few days. Probably the best one coming as we go on through the early portion of next week. Also kind of a cooling trend. We'll also take a look at the extended forecast because the GFS and the European are showing some interesting troughs, trying to bring precipitation potentially even down towards southern portions of California. We'll look at those details as we go through the video here today. On this day in SoCal weather history, check it out. High pressure across the Great Basin. You guys know what that means. Santa Ana winds. Way back in 1909, you can see some pretty warm temperatures there. 1993 as well. Santa Ana wind event there over a 3-day period there. And some big fires were also burning at that same time there. And you can kind of see that surface pressure map from 1993 there. This is the rain forecast, and this goes all the way through Tuesday, November 7th, and probably the best rainfall amounts coming with that last system on the day Tuesday coming up. You can see better amounts the further northwest you go. Eureka 3 to 4, Fort Bragg over 1.5 inches there, but San Francisco, as we go on into the early portion of next week again, Sacramento could get some nice rainfall amounts, and of course better amounts across some of the northern Sierra Nevada there. This is the Bay Area looking at things, and you can kind of see the cutoff there as a Big Sur looks like for this first couple of rounds into the early portion of next week. This is probably the extent of it, getting down towards Big Sur and kind of missing King City there. But we'll watch this day by day as we go. And some more interesting storm systems here potentially coming through the extended forecast here. And this is for Reno, Nevada. Also talking about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Fairly active here. You're getting some breezy winds and shower activity. Snow possible above 8,000 to 9,000 feet here over the weekend. Now, looking at this, this is a nice affordable home weather station. Click on that link down below if you want to save 10% off. I test this against much more expensive weather equipment. It does quite well. The thermometer is very accurate. It's all solar powered, no batteries needed, and the smartphone app is great. Taking a look at the national blend of models here, you can see the state of California, you got Nevada, Arizona. Put it into motion. You can clearly see some nice comfortable temperatures here as we go through the early portion of the weekend. Then you can see it slowly start to drop off as we go through next week with a little bit more robust of a frontal system coming through sometime in the early portion of next week. We'll look at the timing on that here in a bit. And then you can see some chillier temperatures, only getting into the 60s for some of the valley areas, cooling down even across some of the desert areas as well as we go on in towards next week. So let's dive in to see why that is the case. Here's the GFS. We're looking at the Pacific Ocean. There's the Hawaiian Islands, California. Put this into motion at 18,000 feet. You can see some ridging over the area now, but then here come the systems into the Pacific Northwest, clipping some of Northern California. And then you can see some additional storms moving down. This is probably going to be the best rainmaker on the day Tuesday here for Central and Northern California. Then as we scroll out a little bit further, you can see how the GFS wants to drop this trough down across the region as well. And if it verifies like this, it would probably keep the pace of a lot of it off the coastline here. But of course, this is going to be subject to change, model run to model run. But it is interesting seeing this troughing here. It would just take a little bit of a difference there to bring this troughing and some much more dynamic weather across some of Southern California even. Now, taking a look at the GFS, you can see the system moving through as we go through the day to day. Next system into the Pacific Northwest, again clipping Northern California. Not too much for the Bay Area as we go through the weekend, but then the early portion of next week, you see some better precipitation dynamics here for Central California. Some snow, maybe even across some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada as well. And then this trough would drop down, and you kind of see it hold the precipitation off. But as you can imagine, if this trough sets up better for California, that would bring some interesting precipitation amounts with it. Now, looking at the European, what does it have to say? Again, at 18,000 feet gives us a good idea of general ridge and trough position. You can see the ridge on the west coast as of last night, and the system moving through the Pacific Northwest. But we get some ridging here across the southwest USA as the next storms start to arrive at the Pacific Northwest. Again, clipping Northern California there, and there's that better rainmaker here for some of Central and Northern California as we go through the early portion of next week. And you'll see the European also wants to keep things troughy here along the west coast, including a fairly robust troughing, a fairly robust couple rounds of troughing as we go on into the extended forecast. But, you know, right now it's still kind of out there in fantasy land. As you can see, we got some big model disagreement between the GFS and the European, but they all kind of show the troughing nature here continuing on in through mid-November. Looking at what the European, the control run would bring. There goes the initial system as we're dealing with today. Secondary system there does bring a little bit of light rainfall, mainly Bay Area north, and then the better precipitation dynamics arrive as we go on into the early portion of next week. You can kind of see that bubble up there, but it's still the European. I shouldn't have even said that because the European isn't showing that much precipitation for the Bay Area there. However, look at some of the amounts as we go through the mid portion of next week across Northwest California. Then we go on to the extended a bit more, and then the European starts to bring some better precipitation down across the region. Even the southern Sierra Nevada getting some pretty good precipitation, but you got to use some caution with that as too. You're looking at a 10 plus day time frame there. But it's kind of nice to see the potential is there in the extended European model run with some precip all the way down through Southern California and just robust, huge amounts of precipitation across Northwest California, some of the northern Sierra Nevada, and even some of the Bay Area. If this verifies here, would get a nice in a few rounds here over a period of a week or so with some nice precipitation amounts coming in. And this is 7-day precipitation amounts here, kind of just summing things up. You can see San Francisco at around 1/3 of an inch there, Sacramento maybe 1/2 inch there, and this would be ending November 9th here. But of course, we'll watch this day by day and go over the changes as they come. Here's the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, getting down closer towards normal as we saw with the national blend of models, dropping off those temperatures here across much of the southwest USA. 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook. This kind of shows that they are catching on to this troughing potentially coming down towards California in the extended forecast. This would be November 7th through November 11th here. So this is what we're watching here. Fingers crossed for that extended forecast. And one more look at the drought monitor. This was actually issued today. Just a few abnormally dry areas across California, but no drought to speak of, and very limited drought across Nevada here. Arizona and New Mexico not doing quite as hot, as well as the Pacific Northwest. But the Pacific Northwest probably fixing their problems with these storms coming in. And taking a look at the vegetation drought index, the northern portion of California not doing too well. You can see there is some pre-drought stress and moderate drought out there, and even some severe drought with as far as the vegetation is concerned. So this is going to be beneficial rain that's rolling into Northern California as we speak. But if we bounce back out to the state map, you can see the southern Sierra Nevada and a lot of Southern California doing quite nicely here. You know, very moist and some extremely moist conditions out there. So hopefully we can bring these troughs and bring that precipitation back in to some of Southern California and keep this going. Let's make this a pattern here and keep things nice and nice and a lot of precipitation. Let's bring that precipitation in here and keep things nice and moist across the region. And this is the drought outlook. This was issued on Halloween here, so we're 2 days away from this, but this is pretty recent. You can see no drought expected to develop here over California for the month of November. So cross your fingers with that. This was also issued here, however, with the monthly temperature outlook for November, also on Halloween here, and you can kind of see the above average conditions showing up there. And at least for the beginning of November, this may not verify because those troughs dropping down across the area would keep things slightly below average here. But of course, this is the average for the entire month. So we'll see how that verifies. This is the monthly precipitation outlook for November as well. And it kind of shows some above average conditions, maybe the Bay Area northbound there. And this doesn't mean no precipitation. This is just equal chances here. Below average would be out here across some of the Mississippi Valley, as you can see. But yeah, interesting stuff here, folks. I'm trying to get some consolidation between the GFS and the European on those troughs coming. They do show the troughs, just different timing, and the extent of the troughing here, as you saw, was definitely different between the models. So something just interesting for us to watch coming up here. And hopefully that Tuesday system here, the GFS, is more correct and it brings a little bit better precipitation across the Bay Area and Sacramento as well, and maybe some upper elevation snowfall for the Sierra Nevadas here. So that's what we'll be watching over the next few days. We'll be checking back daily. As you guys know, these weather models will be flip-flopping back and forth here, but they continue to show the troughing somewhere in the vicinity here through the extended forecast. So we'll cross our fingers for that. But anyway, the channel's doing good. We're approaching 5,000 subscribers here. So if you could click that subscribe button here and get us over 5,000 today, maybe we can do that. But anyway, yeah, so we'll do this again tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys then.